Jim Price, is an ACB rather, and he's going to be speaking from the Interpersonal Communications Manual called Negotiations. He'll be speaking for 10 minutes. Jim, as you know, is a real go-getter. He's been recently retired from Her Majesty's Secret Service. Currently, he's a diamond broker living in Amsterdam. However, he flew in on his G5 to give this speech to us this morning. Please welcome Jim Price.
Hey!
That was all true. This presentation is about successful negotiating. And negotiating is important. We're doing it all the time. But in this day and age, with the financial situation, it can be even more critical because we're able to negotiate more things. In this presentation, we're going to try to negotiate towards a win-win outcome. And the interesting part about negotiation is it starts long before you start talking, because the key to negotiation is preparation, without a shade of a doubt. And when I say preparation, you prepare for your best win, but you also prepare to know what you want and know what you might be able to give up. And you can even kind of more brainstorm that inside yourself. You also clearly identify your problem with the other person, and you listen to the other person. You listen to understand, and you listen to empathize, and you listen to hear what's behind the words. Because in negotiation, face is frequently very, very critical. I mean, and asking questions and being very empathetic is important. When you negotiate, you lead with your option, you wait, and then you listen to what happens on the other side. One of the most critical things about negotiation is if the opposition comes up with something that you literally will never be able to agree with, you need to let the opposition know that very clearly, so that particular thing goes away fast. Because otherwise, you're discussing something that you literally will never agree to. So the key to negotiation is preparation. The key to negotiations is empathizing. The key to negotiation, and to do that, there's some tips you can do. First of all, you need to break the ice. And by breaking the ice, you sit down and you say, what, is it a nice day? How are your kids doing? You kind of lower the tension in the room before you start to speak. Secondly, you use I statements. I need your help. That's a great I statement to use during a negotiation. Third, you're honest and direct. You really try to be as clear as you can be about what you're doing and about what you're negotiating. Fourthly, you have appreciation for the other party, and this continually goes along with the empathizing, because you have people coming in and they're saying something, but they're also wondering what's going to come out of this. You stick to the issues. That's very critical. You don't go this way, you don't go that way. You're talking to a person that's classically ADD, so that's difficult for me. Attention deficit disorder. I tend to go way over, and I need very carefully to stick to the issues. And you time your discussion. So we're going to do a negotiation. Greg and I, we're going to do a little negotiation, and I'll set up the situation very quickly. I'm the employer of a high-tech company that's down on revenue. We have to do something different. I'm trying to get the employees to go from a 5-day week to a 4-day week so we can keep all of it. And Greg is the legal person that's been working for this new high-tech company for the last 2 years. And now we have to try to do something different. Morning, Greg. Nice to see you. Morning. Thank you for coming in. Greg, we've got a little bit different situation than usual on our hands. As you're aware, over the last 10 years we've been doing well, and you've been a great part of that success. You're a very valued part of this operation. But things have changed, as you're aware, a little bit from a financial point of view. And what we're trying to do is find a way to keep all 10 employees that we have in this company on. And to do that, we're considering a 4-day work week for all the employees. And I wanted to bring you in and get your thoughts on that, and see if we can come to a resolution that's going to be good for you and your family.
Well, thanks for bringing me in. At least thinking about this process, instead of just going out and starting to lay people off and replace people. that before, redundancies here and abroad. And it's always hard to do, and I know everybody else has been worried. I've seen people walking around with seasick green parents, wondering about whether or not they're going to keep their jobs. So I'm thrilled, first of all, that you're trying to keep everybody. And I know it's been a lot of financial trouble. What did you have in mind about what you were trying to do?
Well, what I had in mind is that everybody would go from a 5-day week to a 4-day week. But what we do financially is we take their pay down by 15% instead of 20%. That way we can keep everybody else on. I thought I'd bring that up to your attention to see what your thoughts were on that for yourself.
Well, actually, I've been aware of some of this coming up, and I had an idea that it might be coming up. I thought of a couple different options that might work with this. One is cutting back on my hourly rate. As we know, I haven't been full-time in here. I have other clients I can try to work with. They've also, under this economy, been having stretches, but I can work with you to try to do that. We can try to either cut down my hourly rate, or I think that you've been paying me for the work I do, probably in the range of $3,000 to $5,000 a month, providing me the office here that I go with. And that's just been on average, but it's all been based upon my hourly rate. Instead of cutting it down and putting it on at 10% less, just cutting my hourly rate. Let's look at that. Let's also look at the option. Let's just go to a flat fee for my work. Maybe that would help determine what needs to be done too.
Well, Greg, out of those two options that you brought up, either one of them could take care of the 10% reduction in costs we're talking about. Which one would fit you best?
If I know that I've got something definite coming in, it helps me plan my bills, take care of the family, make sure that my kids are getting their tuition paid. So I know that's there. And you don't have the stress of worrying about whether or not I'm padding my bills or working extra hours, which I don't want to do anyway. As you know, I've been with this company from the very start. I want to see it succeed. I have stock in this company too. I'm glad that you looked at all the members here, everybody who's an employee here, because they all have stock in this. And I think it'll go forward. I'd like to do that instead of running about $3,000 a month. Why don't we just put it at $2,500 a month flat fee?
That would work out just fine with me. It's a little different than what I offered initially, but if that'll work for you, it'll achieve the objectives the company needs. That'd be great.
Let's put that on a temporary basis so that as things pick up, but also that will increase on its own basis.
Well, why don't we keep you on what you're on for the next 30 days so you can try to find some outside work, which seems to work out with you, and then we'll keep the rest on a temporary basis.
That'll work fine.
Thanks very much. I appreciate your time. Okay. Little discussion. What could we have done better? Any comments?
Would an option have been to revisit all the suggestions in a couple days?
Yeah, that would have been a good option. It's always good to take a little time on these and not to make all the decisions very, very quickly, because that puts people under a lot of tension. So that's a great idea. Anybody else? Richard?
I noticed that Greg was the one who had to bring up the fact that this may be temporary, and if economic conditions pick up, could we go back? Perhaps you had stated that from the management point of view, might have put him even more at ease.
That's a good point. No, that's very, very, very good point. These are great points, but I'd still like to emphasize that in negotiations, preparation is key. And if you come in and you've done your preparation with your own needs and the prospective need of the person that you're negotiating with, and if you're prepared to empathize as much as possible and try to listen to what's behind the words so that the person you're negotiating with doesn't lose face, you're going to get a long way. Thank you very much, Greg, for helping me